start or change my little tags. Welcome, everybody. We are at the Reverie Esports. This isn't the Open. This is the new buy-in tournament, Open number 1. And I need to change the stream title now that I'm thinking about it, because it says Open number 49, and that is not correct. In number 1. Starting off the day, we're going to actually take this opportunity to introduce our new play-by-play caster. You're gonna introduce yourself.
Hiya, folks. My name is Octavian. I'm very happy to be on board for the very, very first of Reverie's buy-in tournaments that are going to be happening, I believe, every Sunday now on Going Out Effect. Is that correct?
That sounds correct to me, as long as things go well and as planned, which hopefully they do. And wow, they're going through bands nice and quickly. Where is brackets? We're doing things a little differently tonight since we don't have as many teams signed up as we normally do for our regular tournaments. To be fair, it is a buy-in, so that I can understand a lower turnout at first. But to start us off, we are Supernova Gaming on the red side, and on the blue side, where is our teams?
Looks like we're just getting some fairly meta bands coming back and forth here. We may have to swap scenes in OBS or XSplit or whatever it is you're using here, Effect, as it looks like the stream can't quite see the picks and bands right now. But
oh, I did forget the little.
oh,
okay.
That's fine. I'll just go through the bands verbally here so that people are aware. We've got Aurelia, Zyra, and Vayne coming out on one side, and the other is Trundle, Swain, and Vladimir, and that's going to be for Supernova. And as I said, pretty meta bands. It's strange to me to now be saying that Swain is a meta ban and that Zyra is a meta ban, but that is the world that we live in.
And the recent patches have changed things quite up a bit, and that's nice. It's always nice to see things be flip-flopped around, in my opinion, personally.
Yeah, a shifting meta is an interesting one, and you don't want it to sit around for too long because it does get stale very quickly. That's going to be a first pick Ezreal, though. And with a Vayne and a Zyra ban, Vayne's kind of the only one that's out of the ordinary here. That's not really like a solid meta pick on the current patch. They have a real focus on putting together a bottom lane for themselves.
Ah, the other team is Relentless Dawn. Okay. Had to change the tags on the... That way we know who's who. So, I believe... I'd have to check with the admins again, but I believe we're doing round robin tonight because of the lack of teams, which shouldn't be too much of a problem. It'll be interesting to change things up. And we did see the Bard and the Ashe pick by Supernova. They played Ashe last night, actually, too, which was interesting.
Yeah, Ashe has really sort of made her way back into the meta recently with a lot of teams that really value that hard initiate. And picking up a Bard support alongside it, Tempered Fate and Crystalline Arrow, you really don't get some more powerful hard initiation tools than that. Super long range, super, super strong for just saying we're going to fight now.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do see Lux and Rek'Sai being locked in on the side of Relentless Dawn. And now we need to see, they have a number of open picks here they could pick from. They need mid, jungle, and top.
Yeah, they're probably going to be assuming that that is a Lux mid lane. A little bit interesting to pick a mid laner that early on in the rotation, as usually you want to save that for later on, since mid is kind of the most easily countered role. It's in a short lane, it's easy to gank, you can get all these really snowbally champions there. Picking somebody as immobile as Lux early on, it just leads me to believe that for Feign Out, that's likely going to be a comfort pick.
That makes the most sense to me as well. We do see that on the other side, Moriatis and Yenya locking in the Elise and the Fizz. They did not play Elise last night, but we did see a top lane Fizz from Cavell.
Yeah, top lane Fizz has kind of become all the rage recently because he's just so darn...
Annoying?
Versatile. Versatile was the word I was going to go for. Annoying is good, and it was on the tip of my tongue, but versatile is the less rude way to put it because he's just capable of going full carry. He can go full carry AP or AD. He can go bruiser. He can go full tank, and you know what? No matter what he goes, he's going to be an annoying little fish man.
Yeah. And I'm not sad when I see him die because I love sushi. Okay, we see Shen and Morgana being hovered over. Very interesting. That would definitely most likely pretty much guarantee that is a mid lane Lux,
Uh-huh.
and that is absolutely a top lane Shen. Oh, amazing. Very
Feel
interesting.
a little bit scared for Relentless Dawn here with this composition. It's a little bit on the low side as far as damage is concerned, because Ezreal does take some time to come online. And while Lux has quite a bit of damage, it's only in that one sort of rotation. And then during a team fight, until she's got that cooldown reduction built up in her kit, it's going to take her a little while to be able to belt out a bit more pain. So they could find themselves at a loss as far as just being able to actually burn down some of the tanks on their opposing number Supernova. But to be fair, Supernova hasn't picked too tanky of a composition. Really, only the Fizz is going to be building into that tanky build if he opts to go that direction. So one way or another, it may work out for him.
He's definitely could be a flex pick here, and he could go mid or top. Since we did, and as I mentioned, we did see the top lane Fizz yesterday, but it's looking like it might be a mid pick. If they're well, maybe not. I changed my
Now,
mind.
Zillion. Now there's one. We actually saw that for anybody who was watching. Which matchup was it? Who was watching the NALCS earlier today? I believe Bjergsen pulled out Zillion. And we may very well. The meta is a shifting and changing beast, and we may very well be seeing the return of some of these utility mid laners. People like, or championed like Zillion and Lulu have been coming back sort of as sleeper picks that you occasionally pick up if you don't have something else that you want to grab in the mid lane. And that's the way that you herald the next round of meta, you know. So I think in the next few patches, if patterns continue, we may be seeing more Zillions and Lulus and things like that.
Absolutely.
But that is both compositions locked down now for Supernova and Relentless Dawn, and it looks like we've got a little bit left to count down on the clock. So, would you like to toss us to a bit of light listening effect?
Before that, I'm just going to take this opportunity to say that, let's see, we got the official confirmation from the admins. This is a round robin. The team with the best score after, because every team is going to play each other, and the team with the best score will win. If I'm just understanding this correctly.
All right, so each team will play each other team
And then the team with the
to.
best score, 2-0, will win.
All right,
Alrighty
that
then.
makes sense.
Alrighty then. So while we are waiting for the delay to happen, we are going to go ahead and take a very tiny commercial break. Use this opportunity to show off some of our ads, and we'll be back shortly. All right.
Memories die out too hard. When we were traveling mountains, used to find the loudest tears. We set down by the fire, knowing we could aim higher, but we didn't know that yet. So if you want something to hold on to, gotta find it first. But here I am. Saw me laying under palm trees, waiting for the summer
And we're back. We're now in the loading screen. We can talk a little bit more about these picks. We can see some of these nice skins. I get to see the legendary Nocturne skin that I actually want, but can't afford right now.
Nocturne?
Eternum Rek'Sai. Eternum Nocturne, Eternum Rek'Sai.
It does look a lot like Nocturne. I'll give you that. It's something I hadn't noticed before. I gotta say, it's probably just because the skins are from the same.
That's the same theme.
Yeah, the same thematic background. But
I-
Eternum Rek'Sai does sort of look like Nocturne bearing down upon you.
I want both. They're awesome looking. So,
Yep. And we see some of these fresh, new, spicy champion mastery.
oh yes.
The level 6s.
I have not had the opportunity to get a level 6 one yet, though I just need to play more, I guess, to to happen.
My pride and joy is a level 7 mastery banner with Aatrox because I don't like myself.
Oh, I have a... That's also who I play. That's amazing.
Really?
Yes.
There's so many Aatrox lovers in the casting community. I've come across 2 or 3 others as well.
Just,
We will have to speak later on builds and such. Also, there's a subreddit called Aatrox Mains. You need to look at it.
I
Anyways,
think I actually might be subscribed to that, but I haven't been on Reddit in a while. Let me change the last overlay. To start us off, once again, this is Relentless Dawn on the blue side, and we have Supernova on the red side.
yeah, it looks like it's just going to be a fairly standard 5-point spread across the board here.
we get the
Supernova maybe
little-
going a bit more aggressive with Grammy.
A little more of a standard line of scrimmage. Grammy wanting to word up and give love with Bard's auto attacks. And Yeti showing off with the Ash, volleying away.
That actually takes half his health. He has the time to base here, but he's going to have to base... Yeah, there he goes. He's going to be heading back home. Anytime before, like, 110, 112, somewhere in that range, you have the time to base and get back and still get the benefit of something of a leash from a laner.
Absolutely. Yesterday, actually, when we were casting, Moriatis paid the price of being too aggressive and was half health on a mid lane Cho'Gath.
That does not sound like a comfortable position to be in. Cho'Gath does not do very well in terms of laning to begin with against some matchups. It really depends. Melee
Yeah.
or ranged is probably the biggest decider.
Under normal circumstances, he'd probably been fine because of this natural sustain, but he, starting off at half health is never fun.
Yeah, it's a pretty objective disadvantage right there.
Absolutely. And looks like both junglers are going to start at Krugs and work their way toward their respective buffs.
The difference here is that starting at Krugs for Jack Sparrow means that there was the opportunity for Yeniar and Gremmy to do a Gromp camp and try and get the early level 2. They actually opt out of doing that. They still may get the early level 2 because they are pushing rather hard. But it's interesting to see that they came right to the lane instead of going for that.
Absolutely. And we see that Cavell and a person of Guy, very interesting name, are trading a little bit, but Shen's probably going to have the initial advantage, but Fizz will just outscale him, period. Assuming they
Yeah.
can keep even in gold.
New Shen is really a puzzle. I absolutely love the champion, and I'm very much enamored with the design, but he still doesn't really fit too great into a lot of compositions. And still, the best thing about him is just his ulti. You know, he kind of devolves into this ult bot later on in the game.
Absolutely. And he can do a surprising amount of damage, but it's always in very short bursts.
And it's really situational as well. You know, you got to line up the Vorpal Blade exactly right. You can say that there's some measure of skill there, but it's also so very obvious to the opposing laner. It's kind of hard to pull off.
Absolutely. We do see a possible gank in the bottom lane. They do know that Fan-Out is there. He's not going to do anything, but Jack Sparrow's going to punish him for the sticking around too long down there.
And it's going to be buff stolen on the top side of the map. That's pretty impactful as he's just returning to his own jungle, and Fan-Out is not going to be answering back with a blue buff of his own. In fact, that was warded out by Moriatis, so they even anticipated that being a possibility.
Absolutely. Very well planned out by Supernova to... Well, lucky for Fan-Out, he doesn't need blue as much as some, but that's still a decent chunk of XP missing.
And it's just, it's more really good for Jack Sparrow than it is bad for Fan-Out, because now Jack Sparrow has the level advantage. He's got the extra time on that blue buff to make his jungle clear all the more smooth. And he's just going to go back and maybe even donate his blue over to Moriatis if they want to pull him out of lane for that. That's an option for them now. You know, it opens up so many different things.
Absolutely. Certainly never hurts. We do see Cavell warding over that wall, predicting the possible Rek'Sai tunnel over the wall. Such a popular ganking path for him. But he's just going to back instead. See, Gremmy and Yenny down bot lane are being really aggressive, trying to zone them out a little bit. They do
This is
have
not-
the...
Oh, my apologies.
They have a
You
decent
go right
lane.
ahead.
And Morgana definitely is going to have a... Without landing bindings, they're going to have a hard time punishing their lane.
It's just very difficult as Ezreal to punish an Ashe in the first place because you don't have the best laning phase on Ezreal. You want to be purchasing. Oh, True Farm's
get
getting
a-
stunned up against the wall. That Black Shield was shredded through a flash forward. The Ignite is ticking down. Grammy's actually getting the first blood. This bloodthirsty bard. He drops the Magical Journey. He speeds the Ashe over to it to get her out, but she dies to an auto attack mid-journey. Person of Guy shows up, but he's going to be hot-footing his way back out of it once again as Cavell matched his teleport. It looks like he's going to be a one-for-one trade on the bottom side. Unless Feinout gets caught here. Some good damage from Jack Sparrow, but that'll be all she wrote.
Definitely not going to play too aggressive. Going to play it safe. They do know that he's still there, though, thanks to the Rek'Sai tunnel vision.
Yeah, this is Jack Sparrow going perhaps a little bit too aggressive. It's a 2v3 here. Jack Sparrow's going to get caught up at a blight binding over the wall. He repels down onto the Lux. He flashes away before the auto comes through. Destiny gets stunned before he can drop the auto. The passive was there. If he just auto attacked once, none of this would have been necessary. But finally, the Elise does go down. Now Destiny chasing in onto this Zillion. He really wants the blue buff. It looks like it's going to be going to somebody. Who is it? Feinout picks up another one.
As Relentless Dog taking the lead here.
Yeah,
Very
he
surprising.
more than makes up for losing that buff early on.
Absolutely. A very, very greedy play by Jack Sparrow, winning that Raptor camp, and good situation by Feinout to pay attention to the little sonic vision, I guess he gets. I can't remember the name of the passive, and I'm thinking about it.
It's not Praeseer. Praeseer's name in the queue. I'm trying to think of it as well. Here, I'm going to cheat and hover over it. Fury of the Xerxai, so I don't blame you for not remembering that one.
That's such a stupidly long name. It's too long to say in conversation.
Oh, Riot does love some of their strange names, like the GLP 800, which is the hardest item to say while quickly play-by-play casting an event.
Absolutely.
I'm really glad that almost no one builds it, but that fight, it went well for the side of Relentless Dawn, and yet there were 3 or 4 small, 1 or 2 more like small mechanical errors there. Like Lux didn't drop the auto attack in time, wasn't quick enough with the shift click or whatever, and then flashed over the wall, started the auto again. Destiny made a few mistakes there, and they still came out on top. So that's why it's such a strange and questionable play from Jack Sparrow to be going for that Raptor camp.
It's just possible they're underestimating their opponents here, and they paid the price there. Whether or not that continues to happen will just have to remain to be seen here. And it seems they're doing fine in CS, though, most everywhere.
And I mean, they have not given up. You know, like getting 2-0'd back might throw some teams off their game plan, but they are still getting huge vision control on the bottom side. Jack Sparrow's still going aggressive for this very self-same Raptor camp. And maybe it was just a bump in the road, you know, maybe it was just a glitch.
Absolutely.
Come back.
He's like, this is my Raptor camp.
They're not behind in gold or anything, despite the 2-kill differential. They're actually dead on even, so.
Absolutely. That's the difference in CS we're seeing. We see 20 CS in bot lane and 10 CS in mid lane.
And that'll, yeah, about make up for 2 kills. 15 to 18 CS is about the amount of gold on average that a kill would give you, 300 or so.
Absolutely. So. And they did get first blood too, so that's a little extra.
Mm-hmm. So yes, it turns out the math makes sense.
Math. He's always so accurate.
I'm a little bit discouraged that this is an air dragon that we're seeing first spawn, because it means that this bot lane, which hasn't been all that action-packed yet, will likely remain so, as I don't think there's going to be too much value to skirmishing down there with that dragon being so cloud dragony.
Absolutely. Do you see Feinout heading towards that Krug camp? We might see a gank in the bot lane, though, that he's going to pass right over a ward.
And he's going to get spotted out there. This will be a tough gank to take on in the first place.
And Jack Sparrow.
Jack Sparrow again.
Absolutely. He's like, this is my blue buff now.
It may as well be. It's not yet gone over to the opposing team. Relentless Dawn, I don't think they've taken a blue buff the natural way. They've only taken them through war and conquest by defeating their enemies.
It's often the best way to do things.
Oh, in fact, I did not mark you as the warlord type.
Absolutely. Whenever I play Civilization, war.
Oh, boy. We see now Feinout roaming towards the mid lane, but everywhere this Rek'Sai tunnels, she is getting spotted out. She's at least going to be able to secure a wolf camp there.
Absolutely.
That is small consolation prize compared to the blue buff who lost. Cavel's going to get taunted here. Another trade from Person of Guy's Shen. Cavell going to be opting into it. Person of Guy does always have the option to simply back out underneath the safety of his turn. It looks like that will be his course of action here.
Absolutely. Smart decision. Too many minions to really be trying to trade there. And he does not have the AoE to clear out since he is going the Spectral Clout route, starting off instead of Abemi Cinder.
And it makes a lot of sense, you know. I mean, he gives up on that clear for sure, but it's going to be such a boon in just surviving against this Fizz, and that's the main way that he loses the matchup. You know, he lets the Fizz start snowballing. So he really doesn't have to kill Caval. He just has to keep Caval in check.
Absolutely. And that's some mistake a lot of people make is like, oh man, gotta fight. And don't always want to fight. Who knew?
Yeah. Their top lane matchup is really not about fighting. It's about the global pressure. They've got a Shen with teleport. That's about as much global pressure as you can cram into a champion. And that speaks to the worry that I had in Champ Select, however, that they may be lacking in damage, particularly in the mid game here, because they have this tank top laner, they have a tank jungler, they have Lux who needs a little bit of time to come online. Their cooldowns are just a bit too long in the mid game for consistent damage output, and then they have Ezreal who needs even more time to come online.
Absolutely. This is definitely have to look for the long game here for them unless they can find a way to continuously get kills and stay ahead. Which is continuously looking like that is probably not going to happen. Though they are going for a Rift Herald here, actually, along the map here.
Yeah, that would be very much a boon. Person of Guy is going to get marked by Chum the Waters. Caval's coming in to contest this solo, though. There's a Zillion waiting in the wings, but he's going to get bursted out. No Playful Trickster. Use that to engage. He goes down. Destiny takes the kill, and while Rift Herald goes goes back to its starting point, it looks like that will just be a 1-0 kill lead now. Again, over to the side of Relentless Dawn. That's a flash burn from Destiny to avoid the burst damage from Moriatis. But a summoner for a kill is, well, worth it.
It actually managed to also pop Moriatis' flash as well. He did flash in to try and land the
That's
double
true.
bomb. Yeah, even trade. Actually, probably a head trade now I'm thinking about it. Not even trade, it's silly. But, to be fair, Superbo did stop the Rift Herald from going over. That might be worth it. And they might get a turn out of this. They're whittling away this one in the middle lane down fairly quickly.
Yeah, you could say that Cavell was kind of the sacrificial lamb to keep that Rift Herald from going down. But I think if Jack Sparrow and Moriatis had been a bit quicker on the trigger just to go and recognize the Rift Herald was happening and they had to stop it, they may have been able to even pick up kills there. It was very close.
Absolutely. They almost pick up Feint out there. Barely gets away with any health.
Turret does go down, though, and that's going to be some global gold going over to the side of Supernova, which actually catapults them forward in gold lead. They have more than 1,000 up now over their opponents, despite being 3 kills down.
So they're going to go and take this opportunity to pick up that dragon for themselves. Not the most useful dragon in the world, but I guess it's better than nothing.
And there was an interesting stat that I saw bandied about once when people were talking about the merits of the various different elements of dragons. I may have to get back to this in a moment. Destiny is going to get stunned up against the wall. There's a lot of damage coming out of this duo.
With no flash,
yeah,
no...
but hey.
Yeah. No flash, no way to get away, as you were saying.
And yeah, Moriatis is... Actually, no, that went over to Gremmy. Gremmy, the 2-0 bloodthirsty bard, 100% of his team's kills.
Absolutely. As reminiscent of last night where Grammy was picking up quite a few kills on that Zyra.
Zyra's even more egregious in terms of
Annoyance?
securing kills for her team. KS with the S meaning secure. But he wants to make use of these kills. He's bought the Moby boots. He wants to run around the map a bunch. Caval is losing these trades here. Person who guy now he has the damage from the Bammy Cinder on top of the magic resist. He's got the 2 most efficient tank item pieces. And that power is certainly being brought to bear here in the 1v1.
Absolutely. This might be some time until Cavell can get a lead. He does have the Ignite, so if you get him close, he can definitely win a trade, but...
Yeah. Looks like he's building into that new Trinity Force with the Stinger and the Phage. It's pretty much the only item I can think of that actually
That is
would.
definitely a Trinity Force. He did build that last night. He built that first.
And, I mean, what that's going to do is it gives him quite a bit of a power spike when it completes, but the pieces are not nearly as efficient as these tanky item pieces.
Absolutely.
And
Ooh.
not matter when it's a 2v1, though.
Chum the Water's not quite landing. Very, very close, but the flash He's getting dived anyways, though. Here comes Moriatis to save the day. Here's Destiny to say, no, this is my Shen.
Yeah, and that's the time of 3 members and a lot of health and no summoners at the very least, except for Cavell's Ignite burned. Just for a teleport. That's pretty good value on Destiny's teleport.
Absolutely.
We're seeing some actually quite favorable trades go over to the side of Relentless Dawn, but just because of their weaker lanes here, they're still getting pushed out of this game in terms of gold, in terms of CS numbers, in terms of just the raw power.
Absolutely.
That goes into a match.
If they were better at CSing, they would definitely be in the lead right now. And it's basically their only weakness, it seems, at the moment.
Yeah, and it may be player mechanical differential. You know, it may be some of these players are simply better than some of the ones they're facing off against mechanically. And it may just be champion matchup. You know, Ezreal Morgana does not have the laning capacity that an Ashe and a Bard do. But speaking of Ashe and Bard, Vayne out is down here in the bottom side. The Black Shield going to block out that stun. Morales is knocked up in the air. There's the Tempered Fate, only going to be catching Drellic. This is a 3v3 now, but here comes the Ezreal out of stage. Truth Farm getting ignited. The flash will not matter. He still goes down in the end. Cavelli, after teleporting in, picks himself up a kill. Now Yeniar doing a bunch of damage with that Ranger's focus is nearly going to burn down Vayne out. A beautiful Bard stun onto both Drellic and Person of Guy. Moriatis will pick up a kill onto the turret and zoom his way back out of there with that Zillion speed buff.
And with that, that is evens like a killouts, basically. We're now 4-4.
Yeah, that was a 2-for-0 trade, actually, overall. And that
Might
was a
see
fight-
more.
That was a fight which Relentless Dawn really forced. They burned multiple globals and, of course, just the pressure of having Rek'Sai down there. And they ended up 2-0 down.
Absolutely. Very well played by Supernova. That puts them even with kills, but they're still in the lead. They were never not in the lead, I should say. About to say put them in the lead, but that clearly wasn't correct. And with that,
Yeah.
that is going to be another turret for them.
The only number that they were really behind on was kills, and now they've evened up on that as well. Picked up another turret. They've still got all the dragons, which, to be fair, is only one that have gone down this game. Because the Spectator client doesn't show it, that is an air dragon for people just tuning in. Supernova looks like they've got this game in the palm of their hand, despite a few small overextensions in the early game.
Some questionable decision making in their earlier portions of the game that hopefully they've learned from. And of course, I imagine Jack Sparrow's like, I want the raptor camps. All the raptor camps are mine.
He's got a thing about them raptors and blue buffs. I think this next respawn of blue buff will be the first one that Relentless Dawn gets out of their own jungle, and that's if they actually get it. That is still up in the air.
Absolutely.
I
We do
Jack
see...
Sparrow over there.
You see that Supernova's bottom lane has wandered up to top lane. They have rotated here, and Cavell is going to take the bottom lane.
And Relentless Dawn may remember this match as the match where they almost took a raptor camp from Captain Jack Sparrow.
Trying to think. He wasn't even in Jurassic Park. That's silly. Ooh. See,
Grimmy-
Destiny might be in trouble. He
Grimmy,
tries to flash, but...
Yeah, there's no flashing away from that. Once the first proc of Cosmic Binding lands, if it then finds a wall, it doesn't care where you are anymore. You can flash, you can Ezreal shift, Arcane shift, pardon me. It doesn't matter where you go, you are stunned when you arrive.
Jack Sparrow going to go in.
He's been playing so aggressive on this Elise.
No fear. No kills, no assists, 83 CS.
Yeah, that's honestly rather strange, considering he's been kind of the center point of a lot of these plays. He's been in the enemy jungle a good 50% of the game or so, and yet he just hasn't been involved in any of the skirmishes, except for that one where he died.
Absolutely. See, Drellic and Trude here playing a little aggressive. They want to line a snare. They actually almost get it. Here comes Fane out. They're going to knock at Moriatis.
Again, they're going with the drop the Shen ult onto the tunneling Rek'Sai play. Jack Sparrow flying up in the air with that repel. He's going to come down. He's low in health. He flashes over behind Street Farms, but he actually picks up the kill before Street Farms has the chance to react. Yeni are now going through the magical journey. He gets away with the benefit of his friendly Bard. Nobody is dying. They are passing the baton beautifully in this fight. You go low, you back out. The other player goes low, they back out. Whereas on the other side, Relentless Dawn, well, they are not holding onto their health bars very well. And Moriatis is going to pick up a killing spree. Person of Guy will likely go down. Actually, he turns around and he has the burn. He has the knives that he needs, and he takes home the kill. But it is a small consolation prize after a 4-for-1 or 3-for-1. I kind of lost track.
It was definitely very clustered, to say the least. They are going to get those kills, and a turret is a additional prize. Almost said turret. It's obviously not correct.
Yeah, it does go down in the end. He's going to be a 4-0 turret lead now, which just speaks to the level of control that Supernova has had on this match. And Supernova has been playing these very bloody skirmishes very, very well. They've been playing with every last hit point at their disposal. You know, health is a resource, especially on somebody who's a bit more tanky.
Absolutely.
And now we're seeing some of these item breakpoints get hit, and it's just going to be even more rough for Relentless Dawn.
And Jack Sparrow did pick up the Raleigh, so he's going to be a little more durable now. And, you know, seeing second items being finished on several of Supernova's characters.
Most importantly, in terms of item spikes, I think is Cavele completing that Trinity Force. That is really huge for this new Bruiser Fizz top lane. And while we were seeing Person of Guy able to kind of shore up the pushing power that Cavele was, the 1v1 that was Cavele,
Absolutely.
is now going to flood forward and be very difficult to stop.
See, the Destiny is going to use his teleport to come to that top lane to provide assistance, but I'm not sure what else can happen here. It's going to be really, really difficult for them to win any fights at the moment without getting a good pick.
We got Faye now looking to try and keep Moriatis in check. I keep wanting to say Moriarty, but this isn't Sherlock Holmes. Faye out is going to get caught out there in the mid lane, and Cocoon flies out, but it will not connect. Meanwhile, on the top, this is actually a man disadvantage for Supernova, and Tempered Fate flies out. So that's a large, very impactful ultimate down, and they're missing a member here, as they did spend 2 in the mid lane, but...
Ooh, you see Cavell using his TP, but it gets snared up.
And there's an answering teleport in the mid lane. Person of Guy going to be showing up to try and shore up this defense here. But Moriatis and Jack Sparrow, they have absolutely no respect. They are continuing to shove this in. Jack Sparrow now going to try and run away through the jungle. He's going to get caught up. He's going to be unburrowed on. There's the Zillion ulti, though. Holds him from the afterlife a little bit longer. Jack Sparrow going to be unburrowed again, and Drellic does take the kill.
Ooh, Moriatis going to pick up Drellic there.
No, not quite. Shen ult comes in, and United keeps alive a little bit longer. Gremmy actually takes home the kill on the Rek'Sai as Cavale comes in from the side to finish off what his mid and jungler started.
A valiant attempt by Person of Guy to try and save the day for Drellic there, but fortunately...
Save Destiny. I said maybe Shroot Farms is coming in from the side. A Binding lands into Cavale. There's the spell shield. Now Shroot Farms, though, gets ignited. And Cavale sees some very juicy looking kills. He comes in for one, he comes in for another, and there's that Fizz damage. Double kill.
Absolutely. Very unfortunate turn of events. They did kick the turret in the meantime, and now they were working on that middle inhibitor.
This has just been... It's hard to exactly pinpoint what went wrong for Relentless Dawn. You can look at the laning phase and just see that they were getting outclassed in a lot of ways, and you can look at some of these skirmishes and that they simply were not playing them mechanically as strong. And what do you then do going into the next match? You know, what adaptations do you try to make?
And at this point, it basically is primarily a difference in mechanical skill. We saw huge differences in CS very early on, and that tells a number of tales right there alone.
So try to pick, maybe as a way to try and shore up that skill differential, pick some laning matchups which are very tilted in your favor. You know, like pick matchups where you have the counter, if you can get through the pick ban phase that way.
Absolutely. That way you can at least have an advantage coming out of lane.
Moriatis, though, is going to come around the corner for a blue buff, and it's...
Gonna go to Jack Sparrow.
It is. Yes. I already used the joke, so I can't use it again, but...
Jack Sparrow doesn't share food.
Yes, no, he does not. Jack Sparrow is, it would be great if Jack Sparrow was Supernova's team captain. You know, I don't actually have insight onto how the team functions, but I really want to believe that Jack Sparrow is Supernova's team captain. All the shot calling here. It seems likely. He's been really aggressive, and he's been on the forefront of a lot of these plays. It's very much a possibility.
Absolutely.
I'm going to make that headcanon, so to speak, about this team. I don't know if that phrase applies here.
I'm gonna count it. It works.
Oh, that was a really good catch from Destiny, but he's gonna be paying for it. Not only does Ash Arrow land square on his jaw, he also gets a few Zillion bombs for his trouble.
So that an amazing combo if he had more gold.
If he had more gold, if he didn't get Zillion comboed immediately afterwards.
Absolutely.
There are so many ifs, ands, and buts.
So unfortunately, with just a Morello Nomicon and a Codex, he does not have enough AP to melt 2 players. To be fair, he did catch the tankiest members, but
It was a good catch nonetheless. I think it was the right call. It's just a little bit too late for right calls, at this point.
yeah,
There
this
isn't really a call that they can make that's going to give them back the game. They have to wait for Supernova to make a huge misstep.
absolutely. There's a point where it's just there's too much of a difference in items and gold. At this point, I guess all we can hope for is that Supernova's house gets struck by a meteor.
I think there are a few other circumstances under which they could pull it back, but a lot of them are pretty extreme, to be sure.
Absolutely.
Mass disconnect of some sort. Person of guy gonna get stunned up, he gets chunked down very low. Faye now playing the tank for his team, but he simply doesn't have the stats to do it. He does get the benefit of staying united, but that Zillion burst was intense. Granny actually picks up the kill. Cavalli now diving into the turret. Not only does he have a Zillion ult, he also has Playful Trickster. There is no slaying this Fizz. A triple kill goes over the Ashe. Finally, 1 kill back for the side of Relentless Dawn, but it is way too little, way too late. Even Gremmy is diving under Nexus turrets to take home kills. That is an ace.
That's a 2 for 5, and it looks like they might get it. They're trying to work on these mid lane or these Nexus turrets, but no minions.
Nexus turrets, no lane. When you get to Nexus turrets, lanes don't matter so much anymore.
Absolutely.
When you get to Nexus turrets at 25 minutes, there's not really much that matters anymore. That is going to be the first one falling, the second one being shredded, and the all-important giant inhibitor daddy that is the Nexus probably going down. Unless Shrewd Farms has something to say about it, he's going to flash forward. The exhaustion of Cavalli will hold him up for a little bit. Moriatis gonna be going incredibly low, but he doesn't actually fall. The flash after the taunt from Person of Guy. He gets the kill. Praise Seeker implodes just behind Zillion's retreating backside.
A very nice little catch by Person of the Guy. Good use of the flash taunt.
They are really unwilling to go down. Supernova is not giving an inch in this fight, except where they absolutely have to. They're fighting tooth and nail.
Absolutely. Well, Leston definitely needs to work to make a comeback here. I imagine they at least want to grab a turret.
That would be nice. It would be a nice consolation prize to have taken a turret off of Supernova. But it seems like even that may be not but a twinkle in their eye.
Absolutely. So they're definitely in a rough position here. Because Supernova has a number of options here. They could take any number of turrets, or they could backdoor. That works too.
It looks like it may work very well for them. The Nexus down below half health. The Morgana dead. Valet has the Zillion ulti, but he's going to turn around. He's going to jump onto Drellic. He knows it's a foregone conclusion. Moriatis takes home the win for his team. And that will be Supernova bringing home the first victory of the night.
Absolutely. That'll be their... They'll be going on to face off against... What is the other team? Where's my bracket? It's in one of these tabs. There it is. Their next opponent will be Enhanced Gaming. Actually, our next match will be, I believe, Relentless Dawn versus Enhanced Gaming. And then,
Alrighty.
and then the last match will be Supernova versus Enhanced Gaming. Very interesting. Alrighty then, let me check to see if we have a new code. We do not. Transition. While we get our new code, we're going to take a very, very small commercial break. And should be more than a couple minutes. Hopefully we can get into this next game very quickly. And we'll be back.
hush as the lake. We watch the scenes we live unfold. 100 degrees in here since you came in. I could swear that this room has been running out of air, and now it's starting to spin. You make me feel kinda bad, kinda good, kinda everything, yet it doesn't feel like it should. You make me feel kinda wrong, kinda right, kinda anything, and I would change it if I could. I could swear that I'm fainting, I think I'm losing my sight, I swear I'm hitting the floor. I could swear that my stomach just sunk a meter, I'll be dead if I take any more. You make me feel kinda bad, kinda good, kinda everything, yet it doesn't feel like it should. You make me feel kinda wrong, kinda right, kinda anything, and I would change it if I could.
And we are finally ready. Sorry about the delay, guys. We are at the second round of our little round robin. We have, let's see, it's Enhanced Gaming facing off against Relentless Dawn.
Yeah, and this we did just see Relentless Dawn in the last match, and they're going to be on the red side now. But Enhanced Gaming is a new competitor on the board here. Since this is such a fresh-faced tournament here, and it is the first one that we're going to be doing weekly here on Sundays at Reverie, we do only have a few teams signed up here, so it's going to be quick getting through the round robin. But if you're interested in joining up next week, next Sunday, and for weeks to come, you can always sign up and join in.
Absolutely. We'd be happy to have more competitors. I love seeing new faces, getting to talk to some of the players, and getting to see all the interesting things they do, because it's always exciting, for me at least.
Evelyn ban.
That was fairly quick banning phase, and everything is not too unusual except for Evelyn.
Yeah, I haven't seen an Evelyn ban in God knows how long, and I haven't seen a Shyvana pick in a while either. A little bit more recent, when Devourer was a thing, and when Devourer was a very, very dangerous thing, Shyvana was pretty strong. But not since then.
The moment that patch came through, they introduced Blood Rage and they took Devourer out. We did see a top lane Shyvana with Smite played in one of the tournaments. It didn't go
Really?
well though. They
Yeah,
lost.
I don't know. I don't like the new Blood Razor item very much. It feels underwhelming to me.
It is underwhelming, very unfortunately. It works on some champions, but
Mhm.
it's obviously not as strong as Devourer.
Which is a good thing. I mean, Devourer was a little bit overtuned, but that's going to be the bottom lane. Again, really strong emphasis for Relentless Dawn on getting their bottom lane early. Locked in here, Jinx and Alistair.
Definitely changing it up this time. The Ezreal and Morgana pick didn't go as well for them that time, so they're gonna change it up, go over a little more tank and DPS.
All right, so if this Shen hover is locked in, that means that there is a chance, a small chance, because we already see the Shyvana locked in as well, that we get to see River Shen, and we get to see the Jungle Shen come out. I would love that. Probably not going to happen. I doubt Kodu's going to be running that. It's probably going to go to top with the Jungle Shyvana. But I think there's like a 20% chance we see that this game, since that is the Shen locked in.
Absolutely, we do see that Bard is also locked in. So this time it's not Supernova, but we'll have to see how they play it against Relentless Dawn's team.
Oh, I like the Ari a lot better than I like the Lux. I feel like Destiny's Lux was a bit of a non-factor in the last game.
He had some good
The
bindings, but it
he did, yeah,
was, like I said, non-factor basically. It's just
yeah.
the by the point he was landing good bindings, it was far too late.
Hmm. And he fell behind way too far in laning, and I think he was at a 40 or 50 CS deficit at the end of the last match, which is something you really can't
Afford.
sustain. Yeah, you can't afford that on a champion like Lux, but Ari can afford to fall behind a little bit more in lane because she has such potent roaming power, and if she can then make that difference back up by going bottom lane and getting some kills or something along those lines, I don't know. I like seeing Destiny in a completely different style because I want to see him perform incredibly well after seeing him perform not so incredibly well last match. And I think that Ari is just kind of a very drastic difference than the Lux pick that he was on last time.
Absolutely. Well, he's going to have a chance to redeem himself here. We did see the Ari locked in, of course. We did see the Fizz also locked in, so there's going to be a top lane Fizz, but this time for their team and not on the for Cavell on Supernova. And we do see Ashe and Morgana being hovered over. Lissandra being hovered over. As soon as I say Morgana being hovered, they switch and they lock it in. It is
All
going to
right.
be a mid lane Lissandra. Okay.
I like having Lissandra on a team where you have a Shyvana. Regardless of where you put the Shyvana, she does sort of detract from your team's ability to hold people down, and Lissandra doubles down on that. So she kind of makes up for the fact that Shyvana simply doesn't have very much CC. What are these hovers? I don't know about the Zillion. The Nunu is a potential, but it looks like they're going to be settling in on a Vi pick. Very good against no mobile AD carry like Ashe. I actually really think that Vi may see a resurgence soon into the meta if people keep picking supports like Zyra and AD carries like Ashe because she is just so strong against them.
Absolutely. She's like, well, you can try to get away, but I'm going to follow forever. Unless you have teleport.
Does it not follow through after a teleport? She doesn't just like do an about face and keep going whatever direction you teleported
no,
to.
no,
Has
it'll.
someone tested that?
I had a friend who plays Vi, and we tried it out, and it doesn't follow unless something's happened and reached the patch where they changed that.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I
Now,
don't know what. That must be a breakdown of Riot's code and not something intentional because I don't know why they would intentionally code for that instance because it seems so incredibly unlikely.
yeah, it's been their teleport code has been wonky in the past. There's actually a really old video of when Darius was first introduced. The enemy team, there's a video of him walking up to the enemy team in their jungle. They had been invading, and they were waiting in the bush, waiting to grab somebody. So he came around and grabbed them through the bush and teleported and dragged them all the way back to his fountain. And got
And
a
the apprehend cast during the teleport.
either during or just before, and it managed to drag all of them back to the fountain. He got a pentakill.
Oh, that must have been one happy Darius. I imagine that is certainly not in the game any longer.
It is certainly very much fixed at this point.
Um, and that will be actually, oddly enough, despite the fact that one of these teams has swapped out, we do have Enhanced Gaming on blue now, and not Supernova. Facing off against Relentless Dawn here, it's going to be the same top lane matchup as last time. It's going to be Shen versus Fizz.
Pretty much, but they have switched. Person, a guy is now no longer on Shen. He's on that Fizz. He's wanting to try it out, maybe, or maybe he just couldn't grab it last time because Cavell grabbed it. That seems to make more sense to me. I look interested to see how well he plays it, because he's actually doing pretty well initially against Fizz.
He was. But Cavell, he held out in the lane. He got the CS advantage, I believe, for a little bit. And the rest of his team was simply on a slightly higher level than Relentless Dawn was for the majority of that match. And then Cavell was able to come in and clean up some fights. He was able to hit those item breakpoints and do magic work on Fizz. And that's why we saw such an early victory, 26, 27 minutes, something along those lines. But we do have about a minute left in the delay to count down before we get into the match.
Absolutely. So we'll be taking a small commercial break, and once we back into the loading screen, then we'll come back. So we'll be back shortly, guys. And we have returned. We're in the champion loading screen. I get to see Super Galaxy Shyvana. Not a fan of the skin.
Really?
It's
Why not?
too. It's too colorful. It's got too many colors.
Too colorful, and you're looking not a few panels to the right to see Snow Day Bard. That doesn't irk you.
Yeah, it doesn't. It fits Bard's character, and they're
That's
not
true.
they're not as bright. They're much more. What's the word I'm looking for? There's a word for it.
Washed out,
Yes, that's it.
pastel,
That's also it. That's the word I was thinking of. Pastel. Whereas
other artsy
Shyvana's
words.
yes, Shyvana's very flamboyant.
Well, looks like we may have a 5-man stack here from the side of Enhanced Gaming.
They definitely have more
This is the
opportunities for catches here with Lysandra and Bard here.
And I mean Ash as well. They've got the volley
Oh,
to
shoot.
start things off. Oh, they were not spotted out by Alistair turning the corner there, though they saw him, of course, on their ward. And just a quick note here, Effect. It looks like you still have the
I fixed it.
champion select over.
I remembered. My bad.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
It's a new thing we started doing. I'm not quite used to it, and I gotta figure out how to make it switch automatically. I get to it eventually.
Hotkeys are your best friend. You can set them up in some streaming platforms, but one way or the other, we do have a bit of, you could argue, a failed invade, but then you could argue it's successful as well. They got the vision they needed, they didn't pay anything for it, really, and while they did get spotted out and they didn't pick up a first blood or a summon or anything along those lines, they do manage to at least arguably force Fane out to start on the top side of the map, so he's not spotted out.
Absolutely. Never hurts to have vision so they know where, they get a vague idea of where the enemy jungler is starting, and that is what that they do have.
And that's really valuable information, especially for Kotu playing on Jungle Shyvana. Jungle Shyvana hasn't really been in the meta for a long time, but one of her strengths that she still certainly possesses is the ability to simply clear jungle camps incredibly quickly. And because of that, make her way to the enemy jungle and kill their jungle camps really quickly as well.
Very interesting choice here from Enhanced Gaming. They actually had their bottom lane do the Krugs, but it took them a while to do it, so interested to see if they can get a level advantage here.
It may only be for the duration of 1 or 2 creeps. Yeah, there it is, the level 2 coming up on Blue Silver, but not on Water Typhoon, oddly enough. He may not have been in range of one of the Krugs when it perished, or...
Seem to recall possibly making it so that they don't share XP when they do that. I don't remember. I'd have to double check.
Oh, yes. That's very true. Yeah, XP is not shared between the two, so it's a very different strategy now to get those level 1s. Speaking of level differentials, though, Person of Guy is bullied back by Kiri.
There's the Shen showing off his level damage compared to an early game Fizz.
Yeah, and the dueling power of Shen with his new Vorpal Blade mechanics. Wow, Person of Guy. Just about dodging out on that.
Surprised that shadow dash actually didn't hit. It looked like it did on my end.
I think there was some issue with the animations playing, because I think I was looking at the cooldowns at the time. The Fizz actually burned Playful Trickster, and it sort of played half the animation, but didn't play the other half. So I think that was just the spectator client bugging out on us there.
It does that a lot. Kiri getting oh, gank in the bot lane.
Yeah, Feign Out is here. He's looking to focus on this immobile laning pair. Blue Silver and Water Typhoon. He does not get what he wants, though. Another auto attack into Destiny brings him dangerously low in mid lane.
Actually, Robert is having a decent time here in this mid lane. Not Robert, Rovert.
Yes. That's off-putting right there, that one-letter difference. We're going to call him Rover T.
Well, he's Robert now. That's what he gets for making me say Robert when it isn't his name.
Water Typhoon going to be WQ'd from Shroot Farms here.
Alistair just wants to give hugs.
It's a rough lane for Drellic and Shroot Farms, because Blue Silver does have the range advantage whenever Drellic isn't in rocket form, and that just kind of allows him to toss out quite a bit of return damage whenever these trades go wrong. They have to take really quick trades.
Absolutely.
If they want to win them.
And Feign Out finally got a blue.
Yeah, it's an improvement over the last match. Water Typhoon now going to be caught up by those chompers. He goes down very dangerously low. The heal drops onto his Bardy head. He's going to be able to survive a little bit longer. Shroot Farms now going low himself. There's the Cosmic Binding, but it doesn't quite land the stun. Drellic has to flash away a little bit late on that one. First Blood going to be going over to Water Typhoon. Person of Guy now going to go down as well. And Kiri, just about missing out on that First Blood gold, still picks up 300 for himself.
Certainly a nice little start for Enhanced Gaming here. And actually, I'm going to take this opportunity to change their tag, since they have 3 letters and not 2. Where it is. They're EGE.
And the one lane in which Enhanced Gaming has not managed to pick up a kill is the lane in which they have nearly a 10 CS differential. So things are looking up and up for them in this early game.
Absolutely.
Reverie has been able to play up very far in that lane and keep on shoving it with the benefit of that Lissandra AoE clear.
So they definitely could not ask for a better start. We actually see that Kiri is going for a Tiamat start, wanting that Titanic Hydra.
Yeah, I want to say a viable option on Shen, and it certainly does seem, theory-wise, that it would be, but I just see so few Shens nowadays that I'm not entirely sure of the correct build path. Could be that Sunfire is a good option, though against Fizz, of course, that's a bit less viable. Destiny now going to be giving the benefit of a gank here from Feign Out. He's going to be coming in with that Q. Just about whiffs in as Reverie goes into his ulti. There's Kotu winning the wings, though. Destiny has to flash away, but a flash will be followed up, and Kotu takes home the kill. Now, Dragon's Descent will get him underneath the turret for the double kill. And that is a 2-level differential because, well, that was a level 4 Vi from Feign Out ganking in the mid lane. That level disadvantage between the junglers is huge there.
Kiri's in trouble here.
He just about has the time to flash away, but Person of Guy has the flash available as well.
Absolutely. He still has the advantage. He has a kill and a CS lead, but how long that CS remains will... Well, probably won't remain too long.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of table scraps there from Person of Guy. Kiri, he had the lane under control, and he stuck around a little bit too long after getting that first kill in the matchup, and didn't have the chance to go back to base before Person of Guy actually walked all the way back from base because he still has a teleport available, and saw an opportunity and took it.
Absolutely. It looks like there's possibly that he wasn't completely paying attention while he was taking damage. He was probably looking for an opportunity to use his ult because he just did turn level 6. And unfortunately, he paid the price there. And the price was dying. Not a very good bargain.
Again, we see a very, very impactful level disadvantage on the bottom side. Ashe is currently sitting at level 6, crystalline arrow available, but neither Drellic nor Shrew Farms have their ultimates yet. This is, well, contributing to them being zoned away this far, and potentially just contributing to death here. Blue Silver going to be coming in. I'm surprised he didn't drop the crystalline arrow. There he is. He's holding it a little bit longer, but he does eventually drop it there on the Drellic. Both exhaust comes out, and Watery Typhoon will take home the kill.
Absolutely. So things are not looking... It's very unfortunate currently for Relentless Dawn. They're struggling in every lane. Though Person of Guy has mostly recovered.
Yeah, he's doing alright up here. He's managed to equalize the CS, which is really just a result of Kiri having stuck around too long before. Kiri's going to be coming in though, and he has quite a bit of damage with that early Tiamat pickup. Shrew Farms now still without even the level 5, let alone the level 6 ultimate breakpoint, is going to have to flash away.
And while all that's going on, Kotu going and picking up that Dragon for Enhanced Gaming.
Oh, this is just looking really rough here for Relentless Dawn, who've already gone down a loss this tournament here. So
Things are grim, and Drellic is in huge trouble.
oh good god, that was just obscene right there. There was absolutely nothing that Drellic could do once he was in that position. The counterplay there was to not be that far up in the first place, with mid missing and without proper vision on the bottom side. But
And that's hard because it's behind their first turret.
he's level 5 still. He's got to go get that farm, but that's going to continue to delay this. And now there's a level 7 Ashe, who has the ulti available again, who has an item spike. Kiri is going to be diving a bit overzealously into the turret on the top side. And this may be the light at the end of the tunnel here for Relentless Dawn. They've got this Fizz, but they won't have him for very much longer. Kodu coming in, Dragon's Descent. Urgent Strike will get a bit of distance. Person of Guy, he just about survives the Dragon's Breath. The minion auto attack, though. The minion auto attack.
Minions OP.
Even with Fizz Pass, which flat reduces the amount of damage he takes, he still goes down. He was going to die eventually anyways. I mean, Burnout was going to be coming up in just a few seconds. But
Absolutely. He was trying to possibly delay it for as long as he could so he could suicide and not die, but that just wasn't going to happen. Water Typhoon going really aggressive on Feint out here. He does land the stun.
I'm surprised that Feint is this deep in the enemy jungle right now. He's going to be caught out. He's definitely going to go down. Water Typhoon is on a killing spree. The 3-0 Bard is doing work.
He's taking bad lessons from Jack Sparrow.
He took the wrong lessons from Jack Sparrow. Take the lessons where you are very observant of the enemy jungler and you take advantages that are free and that have very low costs associated. You know, you see the enemy jungle on the bottom side of the map, you go for their blue buff on the top side of the map, things like that. But you don't simply try to force something that isn't viable, like going for that Raptor camp, which we saw Jack Sparrow do last game, and which we simply just saw Feint do there.
Absolutely. Robert and Person of Gold going at it, but Robert. I said Robert again.
Robert, he gets the run to the top side and he gets the solo kill. Person of Guy has been bullied this game. The entirety, really, of Relentless Dawn has been bullied this game. It has been going really rough for them across the board.
Absolutely. Some unfortunate circumstances that have led to multiple deaths. And we're seeing... Honestly, they're having a much rougher time than they did against Supernova.
Shrew Farms is going to get caught off by that arrow. He will go down. Water Typhoon is on a rampage. This is a bloodthirsty Bard if I've ever seen one. Drellic drops the zap. Blue Silver is slowed up. Showing the Waters flies out, but Blue Silver had already preemptively flashed. Exhaust now in a Person of Guy to slow up his advance a bit more. They're going to turn around. They're going to drop some autos here. The flash from Water Typhoon, the heal from Blue Silver, and this 2v2 skirmish was beautifully executed by Enhanced Gaming.
So that was a very brilliant bait by Water Typhoon. He was baiting out for so long that I really wanted him, and then he flashed out to completely dodge all the damage.
That was some synergy there between that duo lane as well. They both were on exactly the same page. They knew what the game plan was, and it was executed very well. Like that was just mechanical brilliance right there. It was very good.
Absolutely. Do see that Silver is still pushing this bottom turret. He really wants it. I can't quite see its health because it doesn't want to scroll high enough to see the health.
It doesn't have any of it anymore.
That would, yeah, that's... Can't see health that doesn't exist, can you?
No, that's very, very deep of you. Very deep of you.
Like, the best CC is death, that kind of thing.
Effect, you missed your calling as a philosopher, a video game philosopher, if such a position exists. We see a 3-man stack here from Relentless on the bottom side, but it may just be a little bit too little, a little bit too late. True Farm's finally level 6 is coming in with that unbreakable will, but Kotu is looking to break it nonetheless. He's going to get to the backline. He's going to make short work of that Jinx. Robert Treadlack is going to pick up a kill into Destiny, and there's a double kill for Kotu, and I called him Robert as well.
I'm sorry for your
I'm just going to call him Trevlack now. That's a much more distinctive name right there, Trevlack.
Trevlack. I agree on that instance, yes. So that is a 4 for nothing there. Only person of Guy is still alive, and he is just... There's nothing he can do here on the map other than just try to get gold.
And the differential has just become way too extreme. I mean, particularly in the jungle is where it hurts the most. We see, I'm just swapping over the gold values here, nearly 3,000 gold advantage for Kodu's Shyvana, who has been farming up a storm, nearly has a 20 CS lead, and also is 5-0 right now. There's the Bard ulti onto the turret. Tempered Fate's going to render that obsolete for a few moments. Water Typhoon will pick up his 5th kill of the game as well. 5-0 Bard, maybe not quite as impactful as a 5-0 Shyvana, but when your team's 17-2 up, it's not too big a deal.
11k gold difference, almost 12k gold at 14 minutes is... I mean, there's just... A 5-0 bar is terrifying at that point.
Yeah, he's been doing quite a bit of work. There's been some really good Cosmic Bindings, some good Tempered Fates. Kodu is going to... Actually, he's going to continue to opt into this fight. He will go down for it in the end. That's a shutdown gold, but Destiny will be falling. It'll be a 2-for-1 trade. It's better than some of the trades we've seen before, 4-0 as you said earlier, but 2-for-1 still isn't quite favorable mathematically.
Personal guy deciding he's not interested in sticking around.
Trevlack had also tried to run away. In fact, he was trying to get over the wall there. He didn't quite make it with the glacial path, but just the mere power residing in this 4-0 Lissandra was enough to scare away Person of Guy.
We're going to see the second dragon of the game, though at this point, there's not much relevance there.
It's frosting on an already baked cake. As Kiri has completed that Titanic Hydra, will continue to shove out the top lane, and there are so many win conditions now opened up for the side of Supernova. Pardon me, not Supernova. Enhanced Gaming. I'm living in the past here. The side of Enhanced Gaming, and you know, it would really be miraculous for Relentless Dawn to be able to come back in this match at this point.
They needed a meteor that I mentioned earlier.
I think you just really want to see a meteor.
Absolutely.
I think that is your motivation here.
Mm-hmm. I've always had a dream of shoutcasting a game where somebody's house gets struck by a meteor.
That's a very specific and strange dream you've had, Effect. Very specific and strange.
It was one where somebody's computer caught fire. Does that count?
That actually happened?
Uh-huh.
That's pretty intense. Water Typhoon is making an aggressive play here, though, in the mid lane. Another Typhoon special. He's going to be rendering another turret obsolete here. Destiny now going to go on the backside. Kodu will take down the kill. Feint out is following him through the magical journey, and there is no escaping the vengeful fist of Vi. That's at least one kill back. The 4th now on the board for Relentless Dawn, but it has been answered 5 times over by Enhanced Gaming.
Kodu's gotta be careful here. Person of Guy can do some serious damage with that sheen, but I don't think they're gonna want to fight this.
Beautiful 3-man knockup, but it will not matter very much. True Farms is the sacrificial cow on this altar here. And you know the rest of his team still may pay the price. That was the animation play for the ult onto the Fizz. Gonna turn his attention instead on the Feint out, use the ulti now, and drop a double kill.
Very unfortunate set of circumstances. That mock-up would have been amazing if they weren't so far behind.
Mm-hmm. And that, I think, is the key thing for Relentless Dawn to look at going forward if they want to stick together as a team, if they want to improve here, is to work on their laning mechanics, work on some of these matchups, practice, essentially, just the basics of laning itself, because when they get into these skirmishes, they have moments where they land these really good Lux findings, where they land these 3-man Alistair knockups, but they're simply at such a deficit coming into those positions that it doesn't really matter.
Well, Rover might pay the price here, but there is the Shen ult to save the day.
And the day has been thoroughly saved, pardon me. Blue Silver takes on the kill. Person guy is coming in, but there is way more than he can handle there. Bane out coming in as well. They're passing the baton here. Blue Silver's going to be going down. They really want to kill this Ashe, but it looks like they won't even be getting that. Blue Silver is dominating. Here's the Bard ult onto the turret, and Drellic has nothing left to protect him, neither a team nor a turret. He will be going down. He will be going down. Kiri gets the kill. He had a few moments of respite there, but it was the calm before the storm.
Persian guy desperately trying to get away. He dodges the arrow, but not the Shadow Dash.
And Kiri will take that one to the bank. Meanwhile, Kotu, not even needing to be with his team at this point, is shoving out the top side and getting an inhibitor now.
Decides he doesn't want to play with fire here, though, and backs out away from Destiny's Ari.
Doesn't want to play with Foxfire. Hey! Oh boy, I'm good.
Absolutely.
Blue
Oh,
Silver's going to be in trouble, though. There's a lot of CC coming his way. He may be 6-0-5, but, well, that may be enough, actually. The Reverie team has shown up in force. They are not letting a number of theirs go down. Not without a fight. True Farms, even with the 90%, or actually at this point only 70%, so this is just the rank 50%, pardon me. It's the rank 1 ulti still. Damage reduction. He's still getting chunked with every auto that lands.
oop.
Destiny comes in from the side. There's a lot to clean up here. Let's see if he's a good enough janitor. He gets the one onto the Bard, but no other follow-up kills. Lissandra does manage to make it away. Kiri's going to get charmed, and there's another one.
That's a curious ultimate by Drellic.
Yeah, 2 kills cleaned up there from Destiny, thankfully. But
At this point, they'll take whatever they can get.
at this point, whatever they can get is likely not going to really matter too much, sadly.
Absolutely.
Rover Trevlight gets a blue buff, and we see only inhibitor turrets now remaining, and even on the top side, not even that.
Kotu looking for blood again, but the cow says no.
If he can just get next to someone, he shreds them so fast, though. His Shyvana is a menace with the Blood Razor enchantment completed, as well as the Trinity Force behind it. Flash away after the Charm lines, though. He is relatively squishy.
Definitely does not have a lot of health for the time being, but he gives very strong hugs.
What do you get when a dragon is angry?
A bear
Out of
hug.
the way. I think that's actually Shyvana's joke.
That is Shyvana's joke, yes. I remember now.
I didn't come up with that one myself.
You thief.
No credit goes towards the caster. I don't think any credit goes towards Riot, though, either. That is a really, really old joke.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this is... I don't really see a proactive way back into this one for Relentless Dawn. I mean, Water Typhoon's going to get caught out here. The Shen ult comes through. Standing Knight might keep him alive for a little bit longer, as well as the Tempered Fate. He's working as hard as he can to get out of this one. He makes it over the wall, but Drellic is around the corner to drop a rocket into his hopes and...
Blue Silver gets charmed up.
Loaded. Kiri is so very tanky. Look at this guy. He's almost killing Drellic. All that damage onto Drellic was Shen and Shen alone. Nothing else has hit this Jinx, and this is through a 4-man goon squad trying to keep him off. Doesn't quite get the kill, but that is the sheer amount of pressure that one member of the team is able to exert here. Speaking of pressure, Kotu has quite a bit of it himself on the top side. Just a few more autos, just a few more Trinity Force enhanced autos, and this inhibitor will go down, but it just about survives. The minions are still firing on it. They have to kill them. Here comes Lissandra. No, she doesn't follow it up. Okay, a few more minion autos. The inhibitor is still surviving, just by the slimmest of margins. It doesn't go down.
That's exciting.
That really is.
They're so desperately...
That little help on a structure before.
Yeah, definitely... First, they were just so desperately like, don't let them kill the inhibitor. And that would... They definitely don't want a 21-minute inhibitor when they're already at a 16k deficit.
Oh boy, 16k, that is
Rough.
almost obscene. That is quite obscene, actually, and
It's dirty.
at this point, the only things which Relentless Dawn are picking up. The only scraps they're getting out of these fights are just the bits and pieces that Enhanced Gaming is leaving behind, the slightly off rotations that end up with a 3-for-1 trade or something along those lines. You know, the one in that 3 is all that Relentless Dawn can pick up.
Absolutely, and we do see that with this huge lead that Enhanced Gaming is going to go ahead and do this Baron with
Yeah,
2 people.
Shannon and Shyvana can easily take that down.
They're going to shred itself very nicely.
I mean, just look at the massive damage output that the Shyvana has, and actually, Shen's new W, which I believe is still called Feint, but the new mechanic where it blocks auto attacks off of large monsters and epic monster camps and stuff like that as well. Red buff, blue buff, even Baron.
Absolutely. Yeah. Not gonna lie, I have not actually checked if the spells remain the same after his rework. That's a little lazy of me, honestly.
Spirit's Refuge is actually the new name of it. I thought it was still called Feint. I feel like a bad caster now. Oh, there's a Tempered Fate. Is going to catch 2. Water Typhoon has been... Oh, actually, only catches 1 Destiny. Got out of that one by the dint of a flash. Water Typhoon going a little bit too far forward, though. He's going to take a bunch of damage. The Ignite drops down. He's going to be falling. Meanwhile, on the bottom side of the map, the 2 junglers duke it out, and, well, you can kind of guess the ending to that story. The 7 and 2 beats the 1 and 8. But it's a 1-for-1 trade in the map overall.
What they do lose a dragon is the 3rd dragon of the game going over to Enhanced Gaming.
And Enhanced Gaming, at pretty much any point in this match, if they play the macro correctly, can just basically opt to win. They have such a lead, they're virtually uncontestable in a push or in a split push scenario, something along those lines. They've just been a little bit disoriented in terms of where they want to put their next move, be that because they're not taking this match as seriously, or be that because they actually don't have the macro. But one way or another, with this much of a lead, it doesn't really matter. Shoot Farm's going to go down. That's a double kill taken home solo for Reverie Esports. Meanwhile, on the top side, Kotu is taking home a kill of his own. And, well, that is probably all she wrote with 3 members down and this much deficit. There is no way that Relentless Dawn holds on here.
Absolutely. This is definitely going to be this fat lady singing.
And the fat lady just so happens to also be a dragon sometimes.
I probably would not say that to her face.
Yeah. I may end up with a few claw and burn marks, but one way or another, that is Relentless Dawn going down here. Enhanced Gaming picking up a victory, and we'll be into our next match pretty shortly. Just got to get those tournament codes working.
I believe this will actually be the last match with Supernova facing off against Enhanced Gaming. They're both 1-0 currently. Valiant effort by Relentless Dawn, but hopefully we can see them again next week. Hopefully we can see them working on some of those mechanics.
Yeah, like they had some bright spots here and there for sure. They had some honestly pretty interesting play during some of those skirmishes and such. Against Supernova, a bit less so. Supernova was really on point in their like 3-on-3, 4-on-4 skirmish game. But against Enhanced Gaming there, we saw 3-man Alistair knockups. We saw some pickoffs. Relentless Dawn has potential, but they really need to refine out the rough edges.
Absolutely. Because it's something that a lot of people fail to realize is that CS is just so incredibly important in this game because gold is everything. And the easiest way to get gold is CS. Who knew?
Yeah, it's the unsung hero of League of Legends, really. Well, I say unsung. It's pretty well sung at this point. A lot of people have sung the praises of minions. I love minions myself. But well done to Relentless Dawn. They are out of the tournament for today, and we're going to be going into our finals here between Enhanced Gaming and Supernova. We just got to get the room coordinated, the teams together, and everybody all set and ready to go.
Absolutely. We're going to take a very short break while everybody gets in here. I'm going to go and take the opportunity to correct my tags, and we'll be back. And we are back. Let me double check, make sure I have. The tags are not right. Whoops, hold on 1 second.
All right, while he works out the tag situation, I'll be going over the picks and bans as we see them come through, and it looks like I am going to have a really easy job because we're not seeing them come through yet. There's the Trundle ban,
Oh,
and there's
well,
the return to lobby as the teams may need to sort out a few technical issues here.
whoops. We did see a Trundle ban, but it was so quick I didn't see a Trundle ban.
Yes, there was a Trundle ban for a moment, but I think one of the players in one of the teams is having just a small technical difficulty, and so we may have to wait around in the lobby a little bit longer while somebody gets a mouse fixed or a keyboard fixed or something along those lines. But we will be back very soon.
Absolutely. I'm going to take this opportunity to grab a soda. We'll be back in just a second.
Get down to the baseline.
Okay, and we're back. As I believe everybody is ready, and somebody is hearing my mumble server. 1 second. I can log off that.
And that will be the Trundle ban. That was not a misclick or anything. That is actually the intended ban here from the side of Enhanced Gaming, or pardon me, Supernova, who are on blue this time around, and Enhanced Gaming, who are taking on the red banners, and a Kindred ban from Enhanced then. Swain will continue to not be seen here, aside from on the ban table, as I think he's been banned out in every single match.
Yep, ever since his little buff in, was it 6.11? I have not paid attention. I have not seen it, Swain, ever. We're seeing another Evelyn ban. Very interesting.
It is indeed. Maybe there's something these players know about Kotu that we do not, and Evelyn is top priority when Kotu's in your match. But one way or another, that is Evelyn off the table. We will not get to see whether or not it is top priority. And as the clock ticks down, we'll be seeing the final champion taken out of play. They only have 1 second left, and it's going to be Fizz, who's been a resident of the top laner for the last 2 matches. So I can see the merit in taking him out of play.
Absolutely. And they've made me so curious, I want to go ahead and use the internet to figure out. And, yep, he is an Evelyn main.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean, that's the sort of tools that these teams are going to have access to as well. You know, you look up somebody's op.gg profile, you look at their in-game profile, and, well, Vladimir has also been banned out in every match up till now, and with Fizz taken out, that's Vladimir getting in.
Absolutely. Kotu also does play a lot of Shyvana, though. And I guess out of the two, they're more afraid of Evelyn than Shyvana.
I would be as well, personally, if only because I respect the Evelyn pick in the current meta more than I respect the Shyvana pick, but that doesn't mean that Kotu didn't do a excellent job with his relentless Shyvana play last game. If you'll excuse the pun in poor taste.
He just wanted the love. He wanted hugs. No one ever wants to give Shyvana hugs.
I really don't think we're going to see Nasus. I really want to see Nasus. I don't think we're going to see Nasus. What's more likely is that Zyra that we saw hovered for half a second there. But
absolutely,
let's not talk of hovers. Let's not talk of potentialities. Let's talk of
Whenever I talk
Vladimir.
about hovers, it's always them messing with me, and they'll switch at the last second.
Yeah, let's talk about this Vladimir because we've seen some absolutely intense damage come out of that champion. If you were watching the NALCS earlier today, I think
Right.
Bjergsen pulled out a 3v1 or a 2v1 and came out without even really a scratch. He was still at above half health at the end of it. It is a powerhouse of a pick right now.
Absolutely. His healing is fairly insane. I was not impressed with his rework initially, but then they made those additional changes in the next following patch, and then he has skyrocketed in popularity.
I would just like to address some of the concerns in chat right now. As far as I personally am aware, since we're doing a round robin format, this is, if we're staying true to the round robin and not swapping into a best of towards the end of it, going to be the final match here. And whoever takes this one home does take home the tournament itself, because the way the round robin works, if you have 3 teams, you're going to end up with one team that's 0-2, one team that's 1-1, and one team that's 2-0, or 3 teams that are 1-1.
I'm
And
actually kind of glad that didn't happen because this make today even more confusing because this is not standard for what we do normally.
usually, yes, we wouldn't be wanting to do the round robin format. It's because this is such a new tournament. We haven't done Sunday tournaments yet up until now. And because it is a buy-in tournament rather than an open, it means that we're going to have teams maybe a little bit more hesitant to get their feet wet in this kind of tournament. So we have a smaller pool of teams to pull from. That's why we've had to um, start with a round robin format for this particular matchup, and that's why it's going to be. I believe this will be the final match here.
Absolutely. Hopefully, in the future, we can get some more teams to sign up, and that will allow us to have the standard bracket format, which makes things significantly easier and less confusing should the unthinkable happen and all teams go 1-1.
But getting back to the picks and bans at hand, I really do like seeing the Sivir pickup alongside of Shyvana. This is something that I saw last game a little bit with the Lissandra pickup and now with the Sivir pickup, and I think it's possibly part of the game plan for the side of Enhanced Gaming. They have Kotu on these less mobile but higher damage junglers like Evelynn and Shyvana, and then they pick other picks around it that allow him to make that work. They pick the Sivir to speed up the Shyvana. They pick the Lissandra, the Bard, even to make engages happen to make up for the CC deficit in the team. It's a really interesting strategy and is maybe something that will allow Shyvana to come back into at least competitive teams.
Absolutely. This allows the Shyvana to give the hugs that she feels everyone deserves. Okay, so this is going to be an Aurelia top lane. Cavell will be not playing Vladimir. It'll be Moriatis on the Vladimir.
Mm-hmm. Vladimir mid is certainly more than reasonable. And a Rek'Sai jungle like this is a really current meta snapshot team composition that Supernova has put together here. They've got a really stacked roster in terms of power picks. Meanwhile, a Talia hover is kind of the opposite of that side of Enhanced Gaming. Oh, Karthus. Now there's a pick and a half. Karthus is really interesting. Alongside a Sivir, again, shores up some of Karthus's weaknesses of being able to get into where he needs to be during a team fight. And I actually, despite how oddball some of the picks are, I really like Enhanced Gaming's composition. Their problem is they're going to have these very obvious windows of power. When Bard ult is down, when Sivir ult is down, they are not going to be able to fight. They need those to fight. They're really powerful when they have them. They have a really solid comp and solid team fight when they have them. But if ever it gets misused and they lose out on that window of opportunity, they could be just screwed.
Absolutely. But we'll have to see if they can take it. I almost said Supernova, but I meant Enhanced Game. How did they handle this? Especially because I have never seen a Karthus in these 3 months that I've been casting for Reverie Esports.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely look forward to see how well Rovert, I almost said Robert again, but Rovert plays it.
I'm really excited. Karthus is, despite the heavy memeing culture around his ultimate and how brain dead it is, actually quite a mechanically intensive champion, if only because you're pretty much constantly aiming those defiles to try and land maximum damage. Um,
Absolutely.
I don't know if I really like the Karthus pick into a Vladimir. That seems like you're picking yourself into a corner there. Vladimir has a lot of tools to be able to survive the Karthus lane and indeed thrive in that matchup. But, maybe he's just really confident with his Karthus play.
Absolutely. In Vladimir's previous form, it was definitely an advantage for, especially as he got levels. I think Vladimir had the advantage. I'm just unsure with his new kit because he has the longer Q cooldown and the E isn't quite as reliable in terms of dealing damage since it doesn't go through minions.
True. It's I still think that he's going to be more than capable of bullying a Karthus in lane, of surviving a Karthus in lane for sure. And it's just going to be a matter of because they actually play fairly similar roles during a team fight. Lots of AOE damage, trying to just soak up some damage themselves and then lay down as much AOE as they can. And it's going to be a matter of which one can do that job better.
Absolutely. And since we are entering the we've been in the delay. We're going to go and take this opportunity to take a small breather, and we'll play some commercials, and we'll be back in about a minute and a half. And we are back. We are into the loading screen. We get to see some of these skins. There's the return of Eternum Rexi, not Eternum Nocturne, like I said last time.
Yes, yes, that is Rek'Sai. Nocturne sadly has not found his way into the meta, not nearly as powerfully as Rek'Sai has, which disappoints me a little bit. I find Nocturne much more interesting to cast, in my particular opinion. But one way or another, Rek'Sai is certainly a powerful pick, and we'll see how the what's Rek'Sai's title? The Queen of the Sands? Yeah, Queen of the Sands, I think it is adapted to Jack Sparrow's really aggressive jungle style.
Absolutely. We last night we did see Cavell on the Aurelia, and did not get a chance to see Moriatis on Vladimir. He played some other picks that were non-standard, other than Azir.
And I would just like to note that we should be swapping the overlay off to the in-game one. Just
I don't know. I'm having so much. I did not have any trouble with this last night. All of a sudden, I keep forgetting.
is perfectly fine. We haven't had any intense action yet. Vladimir walked up mid lane. That's about all that's really happened here.
You aggressively walked up mid lane.
He did very aggressively. So he's actually going back to base now, or he's just spamming the base animation. It looks like, and it's going to be a 5-point spread across the map here from both teams. Pretty standard.
Very standard line of scrimmage. No one's interested in fighting. They don't want to give us the excitement.
Minions have spawned.
I can't really blame them. Neither team has too powerful of a level 1. Zyra's decently strong, especially if she goes grasping roots, but that does weaken her abilities in the early game to some degree to be able to bully lane, which is what you pick a Zyra Ashe lane for. You want to bully hard with that very long range pairing, very high CC combo. Kotu's going to be starting this time on the bottom side of the map. Last time I think he started on the top, or at least started on the opposite side of the map from his bottom lane. So no camp taken for Water Typhoon and Blue Silver, whereas there will be one taken for Yeniar and Gremmy. He's going to give level 2 to one of those.
Absolutely. Do you see a ping onto red side Krugs from Supernova? So they might be thinking that Kotu is starting on the other side of the map, but that is not the case. Very interesting.
Hang on, let me check one thing here. Yeah, this is a really interesting adaptation that I've seen a few teams at the amateur level do here. Actually, haven't yet seen it translate into pro play, but I expect to see it soon. It's the duo lane, Yeniar and Gremmy in this case, take just the little Krug, because the little Krug is worth approximately 2 to 3 range CS in terms of experience, which is enough to eke out that level 2 advantage. While at the same time, it's much quicker to take, and you end up with a lot less damage on your duo lane having done it, which is the main disadvantage of doing that camp. So if you're starting on the blue side bottom lane, so you're starting next to the Krug camp, then there's really no reason not to do just the little Krug before you come to lane.
Absolutely. It does make a lot of sense. Doesn't hurt them any.
Oh,
Get a little stun from Water Typhoon, but he does take some damage in return.
And we actually haven't seen any aggressive play from Jack Sparrow yet. Last game, he's already in the enemy jungle stealing away camps, but it looks like he's looking for that right now. Oh, this is also really interesting. Kotu went with one of the greedy jungle clears that gives you the maximum XP for time, in that he didn't do his buffs yet. So if we do see Jack Sparrow go for an invade, he's got to know that. And it looks like that's what he's going to find out right here.
They're going to meet possibly here. He wants to steal it, but
Alright, so now he knows what kind of clear Kotu did, which is the same kind that he did last game as well, so if they were watching the stream, then they know this. So he can assume that the red buff is up top right. I don't know what they can do with top side right there. I don't know if they can do that info, but they probably know it. Jack Sparrow going to be burrowing in here. Umbro going to knock Kotu up, and this is very squishy Shyvana in the early game. Jack Sparrow has the red buff burning. There's a flash in from Gremmy. He's going to force a flash from the Shyvana. Now flash away from Jack Sparrow. Summoner's burned all over the place. And we see both mid laners coming to join the party as well. Trevlac doing some good damage onto Gremmy. But neither side will pick up a kill, but the blue buff was delayed a bit.
2 flashes for 2 flashes. Barely even trade.
Where that trade came out very slightly ahead for the side of Supernova is actually the mid lane, strangely enough, because Moraidus had just shoved in a wave before Trevlac had to go over there to help his team out, so he actually missed out on a good few minions. That's why we see a 6 CS lead now for Moraidus in mid side.
Certainly, that is certainly a lead that they are not going to turn down. Gremmy taking some damage here, but Water Typhoon is getting eaten alive.
Ooh, and that is a heal burn from Blue Silver. Look at that Zyra damage, man. That is some intense stuff right there. That wasn't even Ignite dropped. That was just purely Zyra kit.
I've remember reading on Reddit the other day that some people are not happy with Zyra's current state. This is so very annoying.
I may or may not. I am in the camp that I don't like to see Zyra buffs because I just dislike her kit personally, whether or not her numbers are good, bad, overtuned, or undertuned. But we haven't really touched too much on. We've seen a lot of action on the bottom side. The one place we haven't really touched too much is this top side. You know, I think that's probably because we have a Maokai sitting in the lane. Now that I come to think of it, now that I give it some attention.
Absolutely, but Kiri is currently getting dominated in CS, and it's only going to get bigger here.
I mean, yeah, there's only so much distance that being Maokai can carry you. It's okay to get a bit of a CS deficit in lane as Maokai because he is so resilient, and he is so just capable of exerting an influence over team fights even without gold. But a 20 CS loss at 5 minutes? 6 minutes?
That's pretty significant.
Yeah, that's more than you can bear on pretty much any champion matchup. I want to see where Cavalli uses this teleport, because he's now got a huge lead. He's got a ton of gold.
He's definitely going to start working on that Trinity Force nice and early. And of course, the additional attack speed it now has is certainly helpful to a kit like Aurelia's.
Oh yeah. That's why you see Aurelia back in the meta, you know? Like, there's been a few Aurelia buffs just to her numbers in general, but Trinity Force being not only cheaper, but also even more efficient for Aurelia, because she didn't really use the crit too well, it's such a boon to her kit.
And here's Kotu to show his love, but no hugs. No hugs allowed.
Oh, the way you describe Shyvana, you think she's just some very aggressive aunt coming to a family meeting and just hugging all of her nieces and nephews a little bit too hard.
That's basically what it is.
I don't know if that is quite what it is. Effect. I don't know. I think.
Well, I'm sure.
A skewed vision of what Shyvana is.
I
She's
may
a dragon,
be ignoring that she is on fire, but
and also a dragon. I feel like the dragon thing is important. I want you to notice there's a dragon there.
oh, water typhoon in a little trouble.
Journey, but he does not have the ability to get into it. And Jack Sparrow gets the kill. I'm really surprised that Jack Sparrow didn't go for a play in the top lane red buff, but it looks like he just wants to exert force on the bottom side, and it does translate into a first blood, so good on him.
Absolutely. Other than that kill, they're still pretty even in CS. And of course, that is Silver's natural ability to just farm.
Pardon me. But yeah, the differential here is that Yenyar is now on Ashe and level 6, and that's a huge mismatch, given that Blue Silver is still sitting at 5. So that could very well be the next play, or maybe it's just Cavalli flashing in on the Curie. That item differential, the gold differential, the level differential became too much to bear. The Maokai does go down. Meanwhile, Kotu's trying to interrupt this Dragon take, but Jack Sparrow picked up another kill for himself. There's the Requiem, though, for Jack Sparrow's dreams. Not even heal is enough. Actually, heal was dropped onto Gremmy. It does save his life, but only for so long. There's the flash in, the double kill. Treadlag now holding both kills for his team, though. Blue Silver gonna maybe get to open to the turret here. Here comes the pool. The spell shield comes out, sort of used just to prevent that transfusion from coming down. Doesn't actually block it. And Robert is now on the bottom side looking for another kill. It will go over to Blue Silver. Good to spread that gold around.
Very solid use of that teleport to 2 lockdown Borealis.
Yeah, that's really good. That's going to be bringing enhanced gaming back into this game that they were just slowly bleeding to death out of.
Definitely, how they handle this is going to be crucial because this top lane is going to snowball out of control if they're not careful.
And, I mean, this dragon could get out of control if they're not careful as well. Yeah, they do have water type coming inside. They have the man advantage here. We'll see if Jack Sparrow can go for his steal. I think that's really his only option now. No, he's not even going to opt for that. And they will just sit idly by as the volcanic drake does indeed go down.
Actually, they're just gonna decide to play it safe. They probably feel comfortable, as it were. That fight did go badly for them, but other than that, they're playing fairly well.
I don't think they should get too terribly comfortable, though, because as I said, the composition... There's a lot of turret hits that you saw Cavalli take there, but the composition that Enhanced Gaming has put together is actually really solid. I like it quite a bit. There's a lot of great aspects to it. And now they've got these 2 kills onto Karthus, which is where they need the gold most. That's going to give him sort of an accelerant to scale further into the game.
He has his items, his Roa, not Roa, but the Catalyst and the Tier.
Oh, no. Kotu!
Oh!
And Jack Sparrow once again defending the Raptor camps.
With his life.
And with his enemies' lives. Kotu pays in blood for the price of that ward.
Kotu wanted to give hugs to people, but he was not expecting a hug there.
Not a toothy one. At least not somebody else's tooth. We return once more to the bottom lane.
Grammy doing Zyra things.
As directed camera seems a bit schizophrenic at the moment. But it's going to be settling here in the mid lane with a flash on Burrow from Jack Sparrow. Robert Treadlag now going to go over underneath the turret. Morietis is in pool, but he can't quite create the distance. Meanwhile, on top side, Kyrie's in a bit of a 1v1 here with Cavelli. Slicing Maelstrom will come down, but he simply does not have the damage. And that is now a 50 CS lead that Cavelli is rocking over his lane opponent. This is a dominating performance from the top laner.
Actually, interesting choice to go the Giant spell instead of Bambi Cinder here on Kyrie.
Yeah, is that maybe a Randuin's Omen that he's going for? Kyrie going to be flashing away, which I can understand the Randuin's Omen, actually. Against Ashe, it's a wonderful pickup, but Blue Silver now going to get stunned up as the spell shield was burned on the CC from Gremmy, and Gremmy, speaking of, will get the kill with a long-range Zyra auto. And yeah, Randuin's is actually an incredibly powerful item against Ashe in particular, because she gets those, like, constant lower damage crits. So you basically lower all of Ashe's damage against you by 10%. And yes, pardon me, Slicing Maelstrom. is not the right Maelstrom. It's Vengeful Maelstrom with Maokai.
Maelstroms for everyone. We do see... That is going to be not a Randoins.
Not a random?
Not a
Yeah, no, it's
Randoins.
not because he's not going Warden's Mail, he's going Chainfest. It is a very strange pickup then.
Dead Man's Plate, I guess? That's the only other...
Yeah.
That's
Well,
an
then
interesting...
they're really solidly committing to like the full-on engaged strat, you know? If they're going Dead Man's
That
Plate.
definitely makes sense. They just want Maokai to be fast and get those engages, but Covell managed to grab the first turret of the game, working slowly towards that Trinity Force, and I imagine at this point he probably almost has the gold for it.
You know, I think if they're so dedicated to the engaged strategy that they are purposely hurting Maokai's build path to be able to execute it better, they need to get out of laning phase. Like, they are still stuck in this laning phase rut that they are losing on virtually all fronts by varying degrees. On actually all fronts by varying degrees, with top lane being the most egregious with actually a 60 CS lead. That is absurd.
Extremely efficient farming by Covell.
They have to get out of this laning phase. They have to start picking some team fights. They've got a great composition for it, but that does not matter if you fall too far behind.
Grimmy throwing some more plants out, doing some harass, does not land the snare. What you see, Covell is actually roaming around now. He's taking use of that gold, looking for possible picks. Another dive.
He's got a lot of damage coming back. Jack Sparrow does lose about half his health, but Cavalli is waiting in the wings, and he will finish it off. He even gets the reset on his Q. Blade Rush. Yeah, he's just doing so much damage. He's got a Trinity Force completed at 13 minutes. That is a dangerous Aurelia.
Yeah, slightly tiring.
Yeah, Jack Sparrow getting cut out in the jungle here. Kotu has to Dragon's Descent away, however, and still goes down. One of those flying blades. Blue Silver getting decently low himself. The spell shield comes out. It actually doesn't block anything, and there's the Bard ulti conveniently inhibiting his own turret. And Yeniar picks up the kill into Water Typhoon.
Very, very unfortunate. Slightly late reaction by Water Typhoon, trying to save Blue Silver.
Yeah, it would have been the cost of his own life one way or another anyways. You know, he still would have gone down there even had he saved Blue Silver, but it was the darkest timeline, and he was not only killing himself, but also not able to save his already deceased lane partner.
How depressing.
And things are getting more and more out of hand here. And Supernova looks like they have this game more and more in hand.
Absolutely. This is one of those scenarios where we need that meteor to strike.
I don't know. I don't know about this meteor that you keep talking about. Is this code for something? Is this code for something effect?
Cavella, by the
have
way, to
something
answer
for
chat, is maxing W first for the increased damage.
Makes a lot of sense against a tanky opponent like a Maokai.
Certainly doesn't hurt.
Water Typhoon may have his number up here. Moriatis is more than happy to follow him through that journey. He does
There's
get
the
exhausted
exhaust.
out the other side. Blue Silver has some damage. Moriatis is going decently low. He's got the pool. He can buy quite a bit of time. There's the heal off of Emo Plague. Tides of Blood comes down, and look at this damage. Gremmy's there for the cleanup with an auto attack, but it really wasn't even necessary. Vladimir is such a powerhouse right now.
Robert is unfortunately not going to die. There's Kodu to save the day, but now Kotu, unfortunately, is going to go down.
Correctly in, though. It's going to be a good amount of damage. Does get pulled by Moriatis there. Fury now playing the front lane. Nearly brings down Grammy, who does flash away in the end. Now Jack Sparrow going to be unburrowing onto this incredibly weak Maokai. Flash forward from Kiri. He really wants to finish off the Zyra, but the kite back is far too real. And meanwhile, on the backside, Crivellia came in and taken care of the Dirge Singer.
Very solid use of dodging damage to avoid getting picked off there.
And further disaster as Water Typhoon bites off way more than he can chew.
Very
Feeling
solid.
comfortable under his inhibitor turret there, but he had no right to be comfortable there.
Actually, Yenny definitely punishing that comfortableness under the... That is going to be an inhibitor going down at 16 minutes, I should say.
And a few other turrets falling as well, you know, just for good measure. Moriate is actually very nice spell shield there from Blue Silver, times that well. The heal comes down as well. Cavelli may be shut down here. That'll be a lot of gold. He was 4-0.
Well, he has not backed since he purchased that Trinity Force, and that is going to be an opportunity for him just to pick up a Steris Gauge right off the bat.
Yeah, just full buy a Sterig's Gauge on your quick base is what we'll call that, as opposed to being killed. It's a nicer way to phrase it. And it is the dead man's plate from Curie, which I guess was the only option at that point. But they're really committed to this strategy. We'll see if they're able to actually pull it off.
Kotu is getting shredded by Yenyar.
Yeah, Ranger's focus is more than enough damage here. Water Typhoon is going to go down as well. Not quite, actually. Flash into the magical journey. He's following. He gets the volley. 1 for 2 now in the solo 1v2, no less. Remy going to be binding up Kyrie, and this is the support versus the top laner, mind you. Like, this is
Oh, and Morales comes to...
situation to watch.
Absolutely. This is just very unfortunate. I feel as though Enhanced Gaming is definitely panicking a little bit.
Very possibly. They seem to have a game plan coming out of picks and bans, but they have botched the laning phase to a degree which means that their game plan is simply not executable anymore.
This is what we talked about in those previous games, where there's a point where the gold deficit is so much that it's irrelevant what you do, and that is now.
Not able to safely defend inhibitor turrets.
Moriartis chases the enemy team around while they take inhibitor turrets.
Yeah, Blue Silver down incredibly low. Moriartis able to basically 1v through here. Doesn't get a kill, but the pressure alone is enough for Cavelli to come in and clean up. The inhibitor will go down. Jack Sparrow has actually further invested in this early power spike. He's got the red pot, the Cure Potion? Something along those lines. The one which gives more AD lifesteal based off of physical damage dealt. This is a very aggressive Rek'Sai with Warrior and Black Cleaver as well.
Absolutely. He's
And
looking
they're
to
just
eat
hard
people.
snowballing.
A very unfortunate turn of events with a Nexus turret down at 18 minutes.
This has really graduated from a snowballing game to an avalanche right here.
Without
There
a
will be the
doubt.
Ocean Drake going down as well as the blue buff steal, and every advantage, incremental or not, is going over to Supernova here.
And with this, Supernova just has any number of options. They could take Rift Herald because it's not 20 minutes yet, and just push top.
Yeah, 14,000 gold lead at 18.5 minutes certainly does give you quite a bit of leeway.
Like they don't even need to go for the last inhibitor. They could just try to end the game. And Kotu, unfortunately, being found by Jack Sparrow. Jack Sparrow once again taking that Raptor camp.
And the safe path to end the game, yeah, is, as you said, maybe take Rift Herald, put that onto most likely the Aurelia, as she is such a powerhouse, and then just go to the top lane, shove that out, and be uncontestable. But they may even just be able to skip over the Rift Herald. They honestly have whatever.
Well, Moriartis ghosting in.
Yeah, they can take pretty much any engagement and turn it into a pick at this point. It would be quite a feat for them to be able to overextend at this point. Blue Silver is going to just about avoid that Asher, but it lands on a Kotu instead. Dragon's Ascent will get him a bit of distance away, but Cavelli is waiting there with open arms. Water Typhoon going to be stunned up now.
And melted.
Giannis dominating, and who needs the top inhibitor turret when you can just take the game itself?
See that Moriartis is going to go ahead and zone out Rovert and Blue Silver there, and that is going to be game, and a very unfortunate turn of events. A valiant effort by Enhanced Gaming, but there's just too much of a lead exploding too quickly.
I gotta say that I really do like the composition that Enhanced Gaming put together. It had very clear goals, very clear windows of opportunity, and in execution that, you know, could be used. And it was just a matter of not being able to weather the laning phase. You know, Maokai got too far behind, and the rest of the map was in no position to be able to pull him back into the game.
Absolutely.
Good try, though. Like, sincerely, very good try, very good pick ban phase. At the very least, they've got that down pat, and I would like to see more of Enhanced Gaming moving forward.
Absolutely. Did see that Rover did very well, looking at the stats here.
Yeah, I mean, 2-2-2 is a respectable scoreline, to say the least, but it's not the kind of scoreline that can carry a game when the enemy's rocking 6-0, 6-1, 4-1, things like that.
Absolutely. Well, with the word from the admin is no, this will not be a best of 3. It's just a simple round robin. It's I can understand the confusion because this is a very non-standard format, since we only had 3 teams sign up, unfortunately. But hopefully in the future we can have at least 4 teams to do a regular bracket, which would make things significantly less confusing for everybody all around. So
to that end, then, anyone in chat who's interested by what you see here, who wants to have our voices over your gameplay, please do sign up for next week's Sunday matches. You can find links below the stream to figure out how to do that.
You could also, of course, also sign up for our Saturday tournament. So hopefully we'll see more of you guys in the future. And with that, we will go ahead and I'm going to go and plug our sponsors real quick before I forget. Do that at least once. We haven't had a chance to do so yet. Starting us off, we do have Battlefly, which is, of course, our website for how we arrange our tournaments. That's you can use it for there's League, there's Hearthstone, any number of things, but of course we use it for our League tournaments. Secondly, we have a Law History app, which is basically a League of some tool lookup thing for your phone, Android and iPhone. So it's like an RPG or Law King, basically. And last, but certainly not least, we do have Vibi, which is the way we create our highlight videos. You just plug a video into their website, and you can cut portions out and make a highlight video. No software needed. Very convenient. And yes, for the people in chat, that was the final match because this is a round robin. And I can understand the confusion. It is a little weird.
It's unfortunate. I would have loved to have casted more games here. We had some really interesting teams come through, and this is a great start. But we need more participation from those of you who have teams, who have friends who have teams, who have acquaintances who have friends who have teams. Get people to sign up. I mean, it's a fun time. You learn a lot, even if some of the teams are mismatched against one another. You learn a lot in the games that you lose, and you get to earn a lot of bragging rights in the games that you win.
Absolutely. And with that, we're going to go ahead and sign off. Thanks for coming up. Hopefully we can see you guys next week.